Having spent the better part of the last 10 years covering the restaurant industry, I've been fortunate enough to cross paths with the country's top chefs. What I've always enjoyed most about these culinary encounters aren't necessarily the meals or the dishes themselves, though they certainly are memorable, but rather the conversations and discussions which we've had once service has come to a close. Now I'm sharing these conversations with you. Join me around the table. This is After Service with Steve. I'm here within the eclectic Cliff Street neighborhood, where I'll be visiting Chef Amori Burger at the recently opened Upper Union restaurant. It's here, within this converted heritage building, where the chef is serving up globally inspired, seasonal, big flavor, small plates in abundance. Welcome to another episode of After Service with Steve. Today, I'm at Upper Union Restaurant with Chef Amori Burger. Amori, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm good.
Fantastic. We are sitting in your beautiful Upper Union Restaurant, recently opened.
Yeah.
It is absolutely stunning. How did this all come about?
It's been a dream of the Moore Family Collection. Robert Moore, the CEO, has always wanted a restaurant.
And for those Moore Family Collection, they're in luxury lodges across Africa.
So they own 7 luxury lodges, 2 in the Sabi, 2 in the Kruger, 2 in Marataba, and all around 2 in Marataba, and then 1 in Livingston that we manage. They've always wanted restaurants, and I found out about it about a year ago that they were going to do a restaurant. And Rob...
And you were working for them at the time.
I was working for them at Ivory Lodge and River Lodge in the Sabi Sands. I was running those 2, the food program of those 2, and the drinks actually. And I found out via the grapevine that there's a restaurant coming. And I come from restaurants, so I love restaurants, obviously. So when I found out, I had a meeting with head of ops, Andy, and he's like, well, I wonder who would do this. And I just was, of course I will do it. Who else do you think is going to do it?
Yeah.
And a year later, we're sitting in this in the beautiful private dining room.
Absolutely stunning. And I think, I can only imagine, that the shift in, cooking for a luxury lodge of, probably 20 packs max to now 100 people. How's that change been for you?
Look, can I tell you something? People misunderstand lodge. You think lodges is easy because it's so the one lodge, River Lodge, is 42 max.
Okay.
And our premium, our most beautiful flagship lodge is Ivory Lodge, and she can take 16 and then 4 in the private villa.
Yeah.
But it's 3 meals a day for 20 people. Let's use Ivory. But you eat 8 times a day. So there's a room snack, there's a game drive snack, there's a breakfast.
Always a high tea. Yeah.
There's high tea, then there's game drive snacks again, then there's afternoon tea, and then there's dinner. So 7 times a day, the chefs are cooking. So it's a lot of cooking and a lot of creativity, because if you think about it, the amount of menus that you need, and they can't overlap. So if you stay for 4 days, I can't serve you edamame beans twice. So it sounds easier, but it becomes very difficult. Okay. But that compared to this, the adrenaline's different.
I can imagine. When service hits here, it is, regardless of the 7 meals a day. I'm not going to lie,
when we get tunneled like this, it's hard. Yeah. It's different. 16 people, you're like, 16 people can all sit at once.
Yeah.
Here, when we have 100, like you said, so our biggest night so far, we've had 127 in-house. And when everyone decides to come at 7 and order at 8, it becomes a problem. But we've streamlined that now.
But and you're doing so well. I think, the menu is really cool. And what I love about the menu is that it's a bit different to everywhere else. And the whole thing is really centered around sharing.
Yeah.
Where did this idea come from?
The whole idea for the menu came that, if I'm hosting, I love dinner parties. I love cooking. Obviously, cooking is my love language. Most chefs are like most chefs, they learn from their grandmother or their mother. And it's
you wouldn't say it meeting some of them, but...
You hear the same story about my gran cooked, my mom cooked. And it's so... What is the word? It sounds...
It's a cliche, but it's true, I guess.
It's true, though. Yeah. Like, there's a grandmother or a mother somewhere. Someone was interviewing me the other day and they asked me, can you remember the first time you actually cooked something? And I remember making flapjacks in the kitchen with my sisters. I remember that. Making a mess, my mother being angry. I remember this happening. And the whole idea was, I want you to feel the way that you would feel when you're eating at my house. So we're having a dinner party.
Okay.
The whole menu is designed around a dinner party. We're passing the cabbage along, we're passing the lamb. We're talking about it. I'm saying, oh my God, did you taste this? Oh my God, did you taste that? And it keeps moving. We're constantly talking about the food instead of sitting and saying, oh, this is beautiful. Oh, it's delicious. Do you want to taste? Okay, now we talk about something else.
Yeah, and I think, that is the beauty of, not only the sharing style of food, but food in general, is that it does foster these connections. It does bring people together around the table.
This is the thing. If you look at history, many deals were struck around a dinner table or a lunch table, breaking bread, making decisions, like wars happened, like many things have happened around the table.
Yes, and food is this almost like a global unifier, I think.
Exactly.
And what I love about your menu is that it is globally inspired. It's sharing style, but it's very interesting in that, we were talking about one of your dishes the other day, and that drew from almost like Eastern European flavors.
Yeah.
Then you go to, touch on Moroccan flavors.
Yeah.
And how does that all come together? How do you go about putting this menu that isn't only structured into, one tasting menu, one chef's experience menu, but also a whole lot of small plates?
It was a journey. Writing a menu is.
Yeah.
Second guessed myself 17 times, rewrote it 18 times. But the thing is, it eventually came together where the plates work separately. So each plate has about 2 or 3, max 4 components. But as a whole, you can also eat them together. So we've got like the ribeye, beautiful dried aged ribeye with blue cheese and gorgonzola and melons and van speck and things like that. And then with that, next to that, we've got the crayfish slaw, which is beautiful. All the little soft herbs, Asian pear, little bit of nectarine, little bit of pomegranate. It sort of works together. It's fruity. Then we go more North African, more spicy. We've got the lamb. With the lamb, we've got the pumpkin or the spiced cabbage. It all they work together in little sections, but you can also put them together where this will pop through this.
Yeah. So it's this constant complementary flavors and contrasting flavors.
So that's the chef's menu, which is one that I curated so that you can everything on it is
it's
it all
almost
works
your
together.
wish list of what you
Correct.
order.
It's like a journey through the menu.
Yeah.
And you start with the bread.
Fantastic. And you speak so lovingly of all these different, ingredients and products. And I think that's another beautiful component of, this thing we've been talking about, which is this connection that food creates, is these relationships with your suppliers.
Yes,
yeah,
it's important for a chef. My butcher is in Joburg, unfortunately. And I phoned him the other day and I was like, Dylan, I can't. Okay, you need to bring me meat. I can't with the Cape Town. But I grew up in the Northwest and we come from farms. That's the grandmother cooking and what and what. And when we were little, we slaughtered, hung biltong. We've done all of that. We actually have 2 chefs in our family. Okay. Of the cousins, we're 16 cousins, and 2 of them. Studied
so when you
food.
Talk about family,
food is
that's
important
a lot
now.
of people.
Food is important. All of our events, it's the funniest thing. I'm going away from, but the funniest thing, every single time we have a family event, the cousins will phone each other and be like, what are we cooking? What's the job? Who's cooking? Who's in charge? Who is in charge of the food? I stepped away 3 years ago. I was like, I'm done.
You're done. You cook all the time. You're arriving.
Can I just say, that Christmas, we had dinner at 11:30.
Amazing.
It was not amazing. Everybody was upset. But, I took over again the art.
Yeah.
But the thing about supplies, I phoned Dylan. I said to him, please, I need you. Because we've known each other for 12 years.
You've got a relationship.
12 years. He came with me to the Sabi. Whilst we were at the Sabi, he did my 2 lodges, then 2 more lodges, and he actually, we paved the way for him into the Sabi.
So he's got a nice little supply chain up there.
Yes. Now, instead of it coming through another supplier, he's sending his own truck through.
Amazing.
So it's a relationship. Both of us are getting beautiful, reaping the rewards of it.
Yeah.
And his biltong is amazing. And it's beautiful yellow fat biltong white. It's the bush. You need to do it right.
Yeah.
And then also, I found the most incredible butter supplier. It's called Cream of the Crop.
Yes, I know Maria. Wonderful woman, beautiful batter.
That butter is like crack. Every single person, it's on our bread course, right? And every single person that eats it is like, what was that?
Yeah.
Well, it's the happy cows who have a nanny. They body boer Pakietsberg. And the actual cows walk with their nanny to the pasture every day, and they feed the whole day, and then they walk with their nanny back home.
And I think that's what's amazing about being based in Cape Town is you're that much closer to your suppliers.
Yes.
Except for your butcher.
Yes.
In general. And it's these, relationships you start building where it's Maria now has a new ingredient and she said, well, how can you play with it? Are you finding that's happening more?
Yeah, she sent me the buttermilk.
Yeah.
She sent me buttermilk and she said to me, look, it's a little funky. Some other chefs have said to me it's a little funky. I'm like, girl, if I send it.
Because she uses cultured cream, I guess.
She does, exactly. So everything's cultured. So she cultures her cream and milk with kefir.
Okay.
So it's a live culture.
Yeah.
And it's downstairs as we speak.
Amazing. Any idea what you're going to be doing with
it?
I
do not. I mean, first we're going to eat it raw. I'm not going to, that's a lie. Yes. I want to do some sort of baked cream thing.
Okay.
I'm thinking a baked cream thing.
Yeah.
I don't know yet, but that's what my head is there. Because I think it's funky. I think some sort of creme brulee-esque something, but savory.
Sweet tart fruit vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
See where you're going.
Yeah. But I haven't tasted it. It's downstairs. It arrived yesterday. No, that's a blatant lie. It arrived early in the week.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing what you do with that. I mean, back to the menu and these, global flavors and global tastes. You are a chef who is not afraid to use spice. I find your flavors big and warm, and it's like,
like a hug.
It reminds you of Sunday lunch. It's these big,
but that's
bold,
the thing. Yeah. It should be Sunday lunch. Absolutely that. Yeah, I do like bold flavors. If I research a menu, I'm researching like little towns in the middle of nowhere where some Oma made something, or there's a family recipe or a family sauce, or like I like that kind of thing.
And I mean, we have to talk about the lamb. I mean, that lamb that's currently the main course on your seasonal chef's menu. Yeah. I mean, absolutely delicious.
It's delicious.
Yeah. How did that come about, and why is that the star of your current menu?
I decided lamb because we're in the Western Cape.
Fair enough.
So I was like, red meat, I want lamb. And we've discussed that the cow is there by the Joburg. I must go fetch the cow. So I decided lamb. We have the most beautiful lamb. We sous vide it for 45 to an hour, depending on how big it is. With a rose harissa. We make our harissa in-house, obviously. And then it goes with a baharat sauce. Baharat is like garam masala for India is baharat for like North Africa. So, or Middle Eastern. And so it's like a spice blend. And baharat actually means top of the shelf. So it's the best spices you can get your hands on. So what we do is, like it's changed 3 times since we've opened. We go to the Boerkaap and we go pick the best spices and we blend 7 together.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So it's actually completely
100%. We drive there. We go to Atlantic. What is it? Atlas.
Yeah,
Atlas Spices. Yes.
And I mean, where did this love of spices come from? Where was it fostered?
Shit, I don't know. Good question. I don't know. I think it's always been since I was young, one of my favorite taste profiles is acidity. Like, I like acidity. Okay. It's always in my food.
Yeah.
Not only does it balance, obviously, you need it in everything, but I would even go hard. Like, if I cook for myself, if I'm having salad, it is drenched in balsamic. A good balsamic, but drenched nonetheless. Or drenched in some sort of vinegar.
Okay.
And I think the spices sort of comes from there.
Yeah. So
I don't like boring things,
it's
man.
Sharp, strong, amazing. Yes. What spices are you looking at using going forward? I mean,
we actually spoke about it yesterday. So on my desk, there's a list of all 3 my senior chefs downstairs, or team members downstairs, but some juniors that I have to go through the list. But the new menu seems to be leaning a little bit more French.
Okay. Interesting.
The chefs, I mean, we've learned a lot. Everybody is a lot of sauces they've never known. A lot of things that, like for instance, the bhaji, which we have on the menu, which is one of my favorite things, because I love Indian food.
We just had it for lunch.
Indian food is life.
What would it fits into those big
It fits
flavors.
into it, exactly. And also it's good for vegetarians, vegans, everybody can have something delicious all the time.
Yeah.
And the bhaji, for instance, we've got our CDP that runs the fryer, Stephanie. I heard her one day. She didn't know I was here. I heard her. But I was sitting in the office and she was on the phone to her mom. And she's like, Mom, you're not going to believe it. We do a thing that is like a fed cook, but it's not a fed cook. It's got spices in it. So I think on the new menu, she has added a new fed cook dish, which is similar, but not with spices. Okay. So we're going to start cooking it out from tomorrow. and then we'll see where we land. But like I said, it's a little bit more French. It's more toned down.
Okay, so...
And then when it's winter again, we'll ramp it up with the red wine.
Okay, fair enough. And I think what you touch on as well is this kind of theme that's running through our conversation is your team really is a family in that you really take on everyone's input when it comes to creating a menu.
Absolutely.
How's that process begun and why? Because I think a lot of chefs are like, it's my menu, this is what it is, you know.
So, look, I studied at Silvestre and then I grew up in kitchens like that. And I feel that it stifles your creativity, and if you get bored and you get sad and you leave.
Okay.
Because any creative wants to create. Even 100%. Though you just walked out of chefy school, you still want to create. You have the dream of having your own restaurant one day. Bad idea. You have that teasing. And then you have like all these dreams, and you saw this on YouTube and you saw this on Instagram and you want to play with it, but the chef doesn't give you the scope.
Yeah.
So we give, even our mixologists, our barmen have scope to play. When there's new ingredients in, we bring fresh new things in. We just found a shishito pepper down the street, and the shishito pepper is on the menu. We cooked it 3 times and ended up doing, actually Jason, our sous chef, ended up putting it with the Balnori, Francis of Assisi, penicillin, super strong goat's cheese, rolled in charcoal, with this charred shishito pepper and lime.
So it is a fantastic producer there. I love Balnori's cheeses.
Yes, Balnori's cheeses are
delicious.
I know, but there's so many great creameries here. That's one thing I'll give Cape Town.
Yeah.
They can make cheese and wine, obviously, and lamb and fish.
Course. Yeah.
But not the cows.
The cows.
They come from the Texas of South Africa, which is the Vrystaat.
I love the passion behind it.
I mean,
yeah, no, it's if you, no one can fault you for being passionate about the meat.
I think it's important to know what you want, to know the quality that you want, and to strive to get it into your shop.
And it's a relationship. It's a
exactly.
At the end of the day, you foster this relationship. It's been built around the produce.
But luckily for me, it's also not, the carbon footprint isn't hurting, because they anyway sending stuff from one supplier to another. So all I'm doing is loading it onto a truck.
And then
it comes here. So they're not specifically just driving it down or flying it in for me. It's going onto a different supplier's truck and it's getting delivered to me.
Yeah, so obviously seasonality and locality
absolutely
is important.
Look, I'm not going to fly in dry aged ribeye just because.
I would hope not.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It took us a while to find a supplier, and now a supply chain is ready, so the meat is on its way.
Amazing. And I think, being seasonal, being local, what are you seeing coming into the kitchen, firstly? And secondly, are there any trends you're picking up on, and how can we expect to see them coming onto your menu?
Ooh, trending, I think, that talking about dry aging of meat, dry aging of fish is huge.
Yeah.
All the Japanese techniques.
Okay.
That's coming in. There's a lot of Japanese flavor everywhere. Actually Asian everywhere, as you know. Hyper seasonality has been a thing. You can't even talk about it anymore. Everybody's doing it. Yeah. You don't do it. No, you're not doing it.
100%.
Why are you existing?
Yeah,
why are you here?
In a country that is so abundant.
Exactly. Why are you even here? And I know small suppliers are getting a lot more scope. Like a lot more light is being shone on small suppliers. And as chefs, we are going out to find them. And you're just randomly scrolling on Instagram or you on the internet. You're like, what is that?
Yeah.
How can I get hold of those people? And then you email them, and it takes them a while to reply.
We can't blame them. They're busy.
But it's because I was about to say, they milk the cow, they make the butter, like not the cream of the crop, but everybody, they do everything themselves.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting some more like bespoke veggie and suppliers in Cape Town, because I'm from Joburg, obviously, so I don't know all the suppliers.
Well, there are some. I mean, Muse Farm does beautiful stuff as well.
Okay, see, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And in terms of what's happening next on your menu? What can we expect to be on your seasonal menu? Any ideas?
I think we're going to go with the humble chicken.
Love a chicken.
Right?
Yeah.
But a happy chicken.
Has to be.
Has to be a happy chicken. The happy chicken.
I had some beautiful chicken out of Elgin the other day.
Really?
Really, really
okay,
lovely.
Cool. Because my chicken supply is from the Midlands, obviously.
Also very cool.
Yeah.
You think Vanessa? Or?
No, Joe.
Okay.
Joe's eggs. She's big in Joburg, and also used to be supply chain, easy to get in, and they are the happiest chickens. They live in an orchard.
Amazing.
Okay, they live in an orchard the whole day, chilling, and then we catch them.
What happens? But at least they had a happy life.
I'm thinking like we're gonna go with the humble chicken.
What's your go-to chicken recipe? I think. while we're...
I mean, come on. Silver's second practical. I think it's this. Wait, let me just think. I'll check it. First practical is stock.
Okay.
2 stocks. I think chicken. No, 3. Chicken, veg, and beef. That's your first.
This is at culinary school.
This is at. I might be wrong, but I think it was a long time ago that our first cooking practical was stocks, and the second one was a roast chicken.
Okay.
And it's the simplest. It's about the butter, okay? If you can butter the chicken well and season it well and get that skin crispy and the inside moist.
What more could you want?
That's it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It has to be a happy chicken, though.
Has to be happy.
Yeah.
We'll be back with Chef Amori after the break.
After Service with Steve is brought to you by Stella Artois, the internationally beloved Belgian beer, crafted from hand-selected ingredients. With a brewing legacy of over 6 centuries, Stella Artois invites us to make time for the Life Artois, where we can slow down, savor life's moments, and share the enjoyment of good food, great music, and each other. Join me as I open a beer and chat to the country's top chefs.
We are here with Chef Amori Burger at Upper Union. Amori, we always end off the show by talking about what chefs do when they're not in the kitchen. Now, I know, obviously, having recently opened, there probably is very little time you're not out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
But what have you been doing in your downtime? New to Cape Town, just came out of the bush?
Yes, missed restaurants.
Yeah?
Oh my God, I missed restaurants. So I've been to many restaurants.
Okay.
In the last 3 months that I've been here.
Anywhere that stood out? Anywhere that you've enjoyed?
I love the food at Uzuri.
Yeah.
God, it was amazing.
I love next food.
Hey, the olives though. The
and
olives.
He uses Maria. Maria's actually
halloumi. I know.
Maria's his sister-in-law.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, the halloumi was fantastic. The olives were fantastic. I've been to Ramen, obviously also incredible.
Amazing. Just that complexity of that broth is,
it's intense.
Yeah. This, I mean,
and the noodles.
Food for,
I mean, I've been to a couple of restaurants. I've been to some wine farms. I've climbed the mountain. I did the pipe trail a couple of times. Not all the way 6Ks. I mean, come on. It's like, have you seen that? Like, it is steep and this narrow and you will die.
Or at least you did it.
I went halfway up. I've been to some markets. I mean, I think the nice thing about Cape Town is if you do have a day off, which you should, because for your mental health and what. But love that for us. But like I said, we nearly open, but it'll get there.
Yeah.
It's different to Joburg, where Joburg you can only go eat in a mall.
Yeah.
And I love Joburg dearly. Make no mistake.
100%.
Love Johannesburg. It's one of my favorite places in the world. But here you can actually wake up on a Sunday morning and be like, okay, I feel like going to the beach.
Yeah.
Or I feel like going for a whiskey tasting. Or I feel like there's so much you can do. Scope's so huge. So I have not done a lot, but much more than I would have done opening a restaurant in Joburg.
Fair enough. And I think that's the thing about Cape Town as a city. The more time I've been spending here, you do tend to be more active, more outdoors.
Yes, it's more outdoor driven.
Yeah.
I was talking to guests about it yesterday. It's definitely more, people do more stuff outside. But the thing in Joburg is there's no outdoors.
There's not much to do outdoors, exactly.
You can go to Emerentia, which is beautiful.
Yeah. Love Emerentia.
And then?
Yeah, no, fair enough. And settling into Cape Town, you enjoying it?
Yes, I just got my apartment. I lived in the hotel for a little bit. Because, one is busy. I was a little busy.
Yeah.
With the most amazing view. Yeah, I think Cape Town, I studied here, so I lived here for a little bit.
Of course.
But Cape Town is lekker. It's beautiful. I don't think... Also, I haven't realized, I've noticed the clicky thing that people keep saying.
Yeah, neither. Everyone
it doesn't exist.
I don't think so.
I think it's Joburg people trying to make Cape Town look like shit. That's all it is. They're like, Cape Town is cut because the people are clicking. They're not.
No, I completely
agree
with you.
Nice
I found everyone to be really welcoming. And
I agree.
But, maybe it's just our dazzling personalities.
It could be awesome.
Chef Amori, I'm sure you have to get back into the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep you any longer. Thank you for taking the time to chat. Always enjoy it.
Thank you
Always
for having me.
Of course. There you have it. That was Chef Amori Burger at Upper Union.
This was an episode of After Service with Steve. Next time, we'll be sitting down with Chef Moses Malloy. If you enjoyed this episode of After Service with Steve, subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. After Service with Steve is brought to you by Stella Artois.